Curry, a deep one. Truth! Oh, can't hit. Looney, another board. He's got 20. Thompson comes in. Warriors are headed back to the Western Conference Finals.
Guys, I cannot stop laughing. Somebody help me. First off, before I start this video, hats off to the Memphis Grizzlies. They're a young, scrappy team, and besides a few incidents, they play basketball the right way. They play together, they play hard, and they play for each other. In the very near future, this is truly going to be a championship contending team for years and years to come. And with that being said, I want to get into some scary truths about the 2022 Golden State team. First off is, you guessed it, Game 6 Klay. There's just something about Game 6s that seems to light the fire within Klay Thompson. In fact, if he had to change his jersey number in the future, he should definitely switch it to the number 6. I mean, since 2016, Klay has been averaging 28 points in a game these Game 6s and has just been a complete monster. Against the Grizzlies in the Western Conference semifinals, it was no different. Klay was just unstoppable. I mean, look at this. Here's Klay with the ball up top. He's being guarded by Tyus Jones. When Draymond comes in and sets the screen, Klay gets just enough of separation between himself and Adams, and still, look at that distance. He's like 3 or 4 feet out from the three-point line.
Thompson, a deep one.
But he still splashes it in, just like another day at the office. And it wasn't just on the offensive side of the ball either. Look at this. Here's Tyus Jones again with Looney on him. He feels he has the speed advantage over Looney and,
12 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists for Green. Thompson.
While that may be true, Klay Thompson did make an all-defensive team for a reason. Sheesh. Klay finished Game 6 and closed out the Grizzlies with a team high of 30 points, shooting 11 for 22 from the field and 8 for 14 from beyond the arc. After the game, the Warriors' replacement head coach had this to say of Game 6 Klay. When I went to give him a hug, I wanted to say, "I love you and great job." I started saying that, and it was crazy. The only thing he said was, "Mike Brown, I'm going to miss you next year when you're in Sacramento. I'm going to miss you yelling at me, telling me to get back on transition defense." I said, "Okay, Klay." Anyway, guys, I'm going to pivot here from Game 6 Klay to guess who I'm going to introduce next.
You know, I've heard of Game 6 Klay, but how about Game 6 Kevon?
You know, last game we got bullied on the board, so I took that personal.
Game 6 Looney. I like the way that sounds too. The man only had 4 points, but dang, he grabbed 22 rebounds. 22 rebounds. Sheesh. And this is exactly what the scary truth about the Warriors team is. Because despite playing quote-unquote small ball, this team can rebound the heck out of the ball. I mean, as a team, they grabbed 70 rebounds. Did you know that since 1980, only one playoff team has gotten more rebounds in a single game than the Warriors just did? Yeah, you heard me right. Besides the 1983 San Antonio Spurs, in the last 40 years or so, no team, and I mean no team in the playoffs has ever recorded 70 or more rebounds until the Golden State Warriors on May 13th of 2022. The Grizzlies were the #1 rebounding team in the regular season, but in the playoffs, the Warriors out-rebounded them in 5 out of 6 games, and in the closeout game, the discrepancy wasn't even close. 70 to 44 was the rebounding numbers in favor of the Dubs, and that's gotta be scary for other remaining teams in the postseason. Anyway, we got a Game 6 Klay, a Game 6 Kevon Looney, a historical team rebounding performance in the last 40 years, and the scary truth about this Warriors team is that they have the 2 best regular season free throw shooters. Did y'all know that since 1987, this is the first time that a pair of teammates have led the league in free throw shooting percentages? And on top of free throws, they're just completely lethal from three-point land. I mean, look at this. After Klay Thompson put the lid on the game, Steph Curry took a nail and just hammered that coffin completely closed.
Rebound, why not? Thompson back to Curry. Curry a 3. He got it.
Here's another play, this time by Poole. Here's Poole out on the perimeter. He first sizes up his defender, and then when he sees the lane clear up a bit, he blazes towards the rim. And would you look at that here, guys? He had the Grizzlies knock themselves over like bowling pins.
His right knee. Poole gets the step and finesses it home.
Anyway, next off here, whoever the Warriors face from here on out has got to be scared of their ability to play their death lineup for practically the whole game. I mean, look at Game 6. Bjelica played 8 minutes, Damian Lee played 11 minutes, but other than that, it was their starting 5 plus Jordan Poole who played the whole game practically. The death lineup is really only supposed to be used sparingly to close out quarters, especially the fourth, but evidently, when push comes to shove, they can practically play the whole game. Lastly, the scary truth about this Warriors team is just their experience, and it was on full display here in this series. Let me explain. First off, the Grizzlies series had the Warriors play 2 completely different teams. There was the Ja Morant-led Grizzlies, and then the Grizzlies without Ja. 2 completely different teams that play 2 completely different styles. One was a superstar-led team, and the other was a team that had no choice but to play off of each other. I mean, Draymond said it best when Ja Morant went out due to injury. What we have to realize is this is not the same team we were playing to start the series. We have to rethink the whole game plan because our game plan was built around Ja Morant. And it's not that anymore, and they're a totally different team. They're a totally different team without Ja. And that's where experience came in for the Warriors. Their 5 straight trips to the finals taught them this valuable lesson. A lesser experienced team wouldn't really make the adjustments, and that could have cost them the series. Next off, the Warriors' experience showed up in the way that they bounced back from that bad beat. Losing by like 50 points would have some teams in the league pointing fingers at each other, causing internal strife, but the Warriors regathered themselves and came out scorching hot to start off this game. To them, it's like that Game 5 didn't even happen. And lastly, where the Warriors' experience showed up was when they had to close out the game. I mean, all throughout the game, the Warriors were turning the ball over and over and over again. It was really hard to watch, to be honest, and I was thinking to myself, sheesh. But then, with about 6:55 left in the game, after Desmond Bane dropped a 3 to give Memphis a 1-point lead, the Warriors didn't make any more mistakes and played Warriors basketball to close out the series. Why they didn't play like this throughout the whole game beats me, to be honest, but oh well, at least it made the game exciting. And the important thing is that when it mattered the most, they went on a 13-3 run to blow the game completely open. And you know who was the catalyst of all this? It was Air Canada, Andrew Wiggins. I mean, first he hit an open 3 after some absolutely beautiful ball movement.
It up, Wiggins, another, oh yeah.
And then he converted a Memphis turnover into a breakaway dunk.
Off the foot of Brooks, Wiggins to the rack.
Wiggins may have had a horrible first half, but in the second half, he showed really just how scary this Warriors team is because in addition to the Splash Brothers and the pool party, there's always an airline ready to take off. Anyway, guys, I'm going to pivot here really quick. You remember earlier when I said some teams started pointing fingers at each other after a bad beat? Well, if you want to take a deeper look into what I mean, then click this video right here, where I showcase team members that, hated each other. It's a pretty intense video, and you'll see the complete difference between these teams and the Warriors. Anyway, just click the video, guys, and like always, I'll see you on the other side.